Back, everybody. The previous game, we saw Spade and his incredible team take on Ion, and we've seen Ion take victory in a 2-1 set against them, and they've proceeded to the finals to take on Boom. That is right, your quote-unquote steamrolling champions so far up until this point has been Boom. They've played vigorously, they've played well. We've seen Ion do the same, and we're seeing a rematch of Ion versus Boom. But before we go into these games and the drafts and picks, Nada, it's that time. We got to give away RoboScoop. We've heard what you wanted. We've heard your prayers, and we are going to be giving away a RoboScoop. Keep an eye on the Twitch chat, as a Twitch mod will be giving instructions on how to win yourselves a RoboScoop. With that being said, Nada, let's take a look at the draft session picks and bans for... Well, actually, before we go into this, we should explain that Team Boom has a one-game advantage in the series so far for getting to this point.
Yeah, of course. This is for winning the winner's brackets. And to make it so that you have an advantage and actually want to win the whole game. So they're 1 point ahead. And, alright, so now that's out of the way, let's get right to the picks and bans. Ion residing with the first pick is going to have the first ban as well, and that ban will be Ayla. Banning Ayla has been part of Ion's strategy, it seems, for this finals match, and let's see if it works out for them this time. Response ban will be Penny Fox. No silence pulses this time, I'm afraid. Boom knows what they're up against. Alright, first pick will be Scoop. If you can't ban him, you pick him and you ban him that way. So, Robbie finally getting to play that Scoop and also denying Paolo the Scoop. Response will be Swiggins and Vinny and Spike, so a hefty burst and a silence cloud. We've seen Vinny so many times today, and that is because that cloud is so powerful. Now, response will be Coco and Froggy G. To sum up, we have a Scoop, Coco, and Froggy G residing for Ion, and Boom will be rolling with a Nibs for their last pick. So Swiggins, Vinny and Spike, and Nibs is going to be their setup. Are you ready? Mabs on Agion. When you are ready, I will count you in, and let's get the show on the road. The grand finals.
Before we do that, I do want to point out that this is a best of 5. We switched from a best of 3 to a best of 5, and Boom has a 1-game advantage. They are up 1 game, so Boom needs to win 2 games, and Ion needs to win 3. Let's get it on. Give us a countdown, Nada, as we go into the grand finals of the Alienware Awesome Cup 2.
All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
So, Nada, 3 months of preparation, 3 months of games, 3 months of blood, sweat, and tears, and we are here in the finals where we will observe Boom take on Ion. What are your predictions for these compositions?
Well, it all comes down to the initiation here. We have 2 very initiation-heavy comps. They both rely on, the Hammer Frog, Coco Ball, or, the hook, the dive, and then the fire from Nibs. Just absolutely menacing.
Now, comparative to the build on Ion, or excuse me, the comp of Ion.
Alright, I'm afraid you're going to have to rephrase that because I am not quite sure what you want me to say.
Well, we're discussing these comps in depth, and we're really taking a look at a lot of these teams, or excuse me, I should have said in comparative to Spade and his team. I was thinking about the last game where Ion was on the right. But
I see.
We see that Scoop, the most picked and banned character in this tournament to date.
Well, that is because he is very high on HP, he does super well at poking, his CC is absolutely phenomenal, and of course his sustain really just, it's something of its own, you sponge up all that damage, you're binding, and you regen up all that HP. Just phenomenal. And it works really well against high burst characters as well as this Nibs where you can get the heal over time and sort of negate that DOT that we will be seeing eventually.
As we see both members, both members of Team Ion back on lane, waiting for Dov to get back as he does, and we see these kind of pushes occur sporadically. And I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see these teams rotate very quickly. We're going to see Boom go with his very burst-centered comp, and we see Ion with the more consecutive damage. So I think it's interesting to see how these teams are going to play against each other.
Well, there's a lot of the line on the line here, and I think there's no room for mistakes at all. If you thought, if you thought the qualifier finals were tough, this is it. This is the grand finals. Everything, the gloves are off. They are ready to go in with everything they have.
Team Boom going to clear up that bottom lane quickly as we see Blah in the top lane, and Dov will retreat back and grab some health and will opt for Boots very quickly. Boots possibly the most essential upgrade to buy on a Coco.
Yeah, I would be inclined to agree with you. And there's a lot of characters that just really need the boots in order to position themselves right. And on certain maps, you just need that to make the certain jumps. You have the jump up in the hiding area, for instance. You need the boots to be able to do that. And, it just unlocks a whole new part of the map for you if you get those boots for Coco.
Robbie going to be using that hammer to drop through in the creep zone, and we're going to start the engagement with the anchor. Robbie having a lot of damage dealt to him, and it seems as if Kaio is going to escape with very little health as well, fighting it out and duking it out with Dov and Machno in the top. But Paolo being there for the safety, utilizing his cloud very well. He is going to build that farm cloud, and he's going to be looking for that late game, excuse me.
He is, well, at least as late as the Vinny can go, because, his late game does apply a little bit earlier than everyone else.
And we see the entirety of Boom into the top lane with Robbie and Machno getting ready to pounce on the first thing or first object that they see and are able to kill. And Kaio is going to be assaulted, but the engagement begins. Paolo drops his cloud very quickly, and Blah dealing a lot of damage with his fire. Machno there for the escape, allowing Robbie to retreat back and pick up some neutral creep health.
And Mo actually opted for the piggy bank into Hammer Pants just because one character with hammers wasn't enough.
Paolo diving in on Dov, dealing that 350 base dive. Not going to be enough to do any real damage, but still forcing him back to his creep zone to pick up the health. Paolo and Blah both in the bottom lane, clearing it up as Kaio is going to be defending top. Paolo will get dove in, but Nibs and Blah is going to be using the fire to force Mokno back and not allow any further advancement. The health pickup by Paolo. Robbie will proceed to teleport back and potentially get some upgrades. He has 240. He will buy that Twister Lance, and that will increase the range of that Frozen Hammer.
I'm surprised to see no Piggy.
And Dob is going to get taken down 5 minutes and 30 seconds in, as he'll be the first kill of the Grand Finals. First blood has been drawn.
Oh, a bit late. 5 minutes and 40 seconds in.
Paolo going to be duking out with Mokno and Robbie, as Robbie will utilize his hammer to prevent Paolo from dealing any further damage. Blah waiting on the bouncer, going to teleport down in anticipation that Mokno was taking the left bouncer when in fact he took the right bouncer.
Playing the mind games right there.
And I just want to point out Robbie's positioning, utilizing that hammer from the top jungle and throwing it down through the platform, gaining the maximum amount of distance on it.
And you really want to do that. You want to, go make the hammers bounce silly route, make them go the absolute extreme to get that most damage in the utmost snare, because that is the most important thing you can do as a scoop. Just get those hammers in at max range, support your team, keep them flying, and make sure that you can land a proper initiate with it.
As we see the hammers being continue to do damage on majority of the members of Team Boom, they have to be very careful once Robbie gets his speedometer build, which I'm 90% sure he's going to build into. It's going to be very difficult for Boom to actually start these engagements with being constantly snared down and tied down to their turret areas.
Correct. And that's, I think cooldown actually could work out as an early pickup. Instead of rushing damage, then cooldown, perhaps get 2 stages of damage, then cooldown, then the last stage. Mixing it up a bit, because they have a lot of nodes that are very susceptible to this snare that he can provide. So, you know, locking, for instance, Vinny down during a dash or the Swiggins during a hook, you're really going to get a lot of, you know, money's worth for it.
And as you said, you do get your money's worth. And we're going to see the tie down from the anchor on Ruster Robbie as he will try and land that hammer against the turret and go back to clearing in the top lane as Mokno has invis. We're going to see Boombi playing very passively and not fight. They're opting to defend as they know that the Frog has invis.
And it's important to position yourself aggressively when you have that invis, because otherwise you may just be wasting it. It's really, you have to be on your toes, and, you know, Boom
and
knows.
Being on your toes is exactly what Kaio was not, as he was taken out by the entirety of Team Ion right off the bouncer.
Yeah, bouncer camping, another high-level strat that we see on most organized teams.
And Paolo in the bottom lane. Robbie will go back to clearing top with Mokno as Dov picks up some HP once more. Blah going to use his fire and teleport out quickly, dealing some decent damage before actually getting hit.
I think that's all about it. If you can do more damage than you take, then that's a success.
And the success that we're talking about, both of these teams are very successful to be here in the grand finals. They've already placed. This is for first and second place. Both teams will be obtaining Alienware Alphas, though.
And now it's all about the glory of the first place here.
The pride and glory of being crowned the champions of the Alienware Awesome Cup 2. We've seen 99 Cents take it last time, and we're looking at two teams that are looking to take it this time. Both teams finalists in the last tournament as well. So we're seeing sort of a trend, I would say.
Well, you can't stop good teams from being good.
That's correct, and both of these teams have played exceptionally well and are very good.
They have proven their worth for sure.
As Dov is in the bottom lane clearing up, we see Paolo and Kaio waiting to pounce. They get the dash in on Robbie, dealing that 500 damage because he does have that goldfish, so his damage output is going to be 500 per dash. That will eventually be increased to 700 once he picks up Chrome File.
Oh yeah, the Chrome File. I think he will be opting for Silence Cloud or perhaps a range dive a bit sooner than the full damage because you know, just the whole setup we've seen so far from Boom, it feels like that is sort of his upgrade. You know, Paolo and the range dive, I think that's, you know, that's one of his things.
Well, Scoop has around 320 solar alongside with Paolo, so Robbie and Paolo should be looking to get back soon and spend some of that solar. I'm really interested to see what Scoop is going to build first, damage or the cooldown.
Well, Paolo is having to keep that gold tax, so I think he should stay a bit longer. But absolutely, Scoop needs to go back, grab some upgrades. He has wasted potential lying in his wallet right now.
As Kai will go back to defending top, Blah using his sneaky duck strats. Invis has been obtained by Mokno, as Ion will be looking to pick up a kill while Invis.
Once again, Mo has that invis, moving up in the jungle area, just very aggressively, keeping the pressure up.
As Robbie will continue to use those hammers, he's going to opt back, and let's see what he will pick up. The damage for his brutally whipped cream as opposed to cooldown. I think that's an interesting kind of selection, especially against this team where you really want to keep them from engaging and advancing forward. So I personally would have opted for cooldown before damage, but the more damage, the better.
That is true.
As we see Blah getting put in front of the turret, dealing a great amount of damage to Dov before he's forced to go back and clear up the bottom lane. And we see Paolo up top clearing that up with the entirety of Ion waiting to pounce on the first thing, and they saw the nibs, but the nibs teleport, Blah being very sneaky with his teleport, and the counter initiation occurring. Robbie is going to go down in the same time that the engagement began, with Paolo starting it in the dash.
Right. This has been a rather uneventful game in terms of kills. If you look at it, it's only 3 kills in 12 minutes.
3 kills in 12 minutes, but it is the finals. Both of these teams are high octane. They've been just badgering each other this whole time, and this is a rematch from an earlier game, except in the grand finals.
Alright, so Frog picking up that mutant worm a bit late, actually. I probably would have opted with it a bit sooner because it is a very, very powerful upgrade. And you get a lot of damage for quite the bargain. Actually, it's very cheap in comparison to what damage you're getting.
It is pretty cheap. Mutant Worms is always a great upgrade, though. It will increase your AA upon hit of your abilities. That being, and excuse me, Robbie's going to go down, trying to pick up the Invis in the midsection. Robbie will pick up the kill on Blah.
And that Silence Cloud is now coming out for Vinny.
And the Silence Cloud is going to be very powerful once he starts the engagements. Kaio just dropping himself into the potential death situation in a 3v1, but he knows that Paolo will be there to save him, and he goes straight in, deals damage across the board, and drops the Silence Cloud to allow the escape.
Alright, I'm actually quite surprised to see G-Dove on the Coco and not Mokno.
Well, there are a few different characters that Ion plays. I've seen Mokno play his Coco, as you said before, but we've also seen him play a Clunk. And against this comp, I would have think a Clunk would have been a better option.
Well, I would have to disagree there, because when you're Clunk, you rely heavily on that bite, and with the Silence Cloud, you're not going to get that bite off.
And Robbie will go down to Paolo with his AA after the dashes from... Oh, excuse me, we're having another engagement as Dav is going to go down as well. Blah will pick up another kill, and that will make the kill count 4-2 in favor of Team Boom. Team Boom will now be able to push those first front turrets. And Blah will pick up another kill on Mokno in front of the turret, and that was almost a team wipe. Robbie is now back on map, but this top turret seems to be going down very quickly as Kaio and Paolo are continuing their assault on it. It does go down. The bottom turret split push has been brought down to about half health, and Boom is now opting for a second turret as they will be pushing in to pick it up. The turret is half a bar left, and Boom has taken the first turret of the grand finals at 14 minutes in.
It is, you know, they're picking up the pace here, and if they keep going this way, they will have won in no time. But I think Ion is going to put up a great fight now that Mokno can build up his... no, that's G-Dove. I keep confusing them. That's G-Dove. They're building the same build. He is playing the Coco, and he wants to get that Blaze Ball up and going.
And just being annoying with the Blaze Ball is what Coco should be opting for at this point. Getting those DOT ticks in on Paolo and on Nibs is going to be very powerful in the long run, especially if they start those engagements and have to escape. That Blaze Ball is going to allow their escape as well as deal damage to all members of Team Boom. And here comes Robbie going straight in for it. We see Mokno coming in after him, and he is going to get counter-initiated on it, and Mokno goes down as well as Blah. Dob picking up the kill on Blah.
That's a 1-for-1. See if Ion can push back up, because they are a little bit behind on turrets.
They are a little bit behind. That bottom turret will go down if you sneeze on it. And Dov duking it out with Paolo in the bottom lane, but his regen cloud. But no! Hammer from the heavens is actually going to deal enough damage so the DO tick from Dov will pick up the kill.
And that's what we were talking about, that hammer just keeping that spam going.
It's not the speedometer build yet, but that is a huge hammer. It's a potential 500 hammer. If he builds Spoon Man, it's going to go up way beyond that 500.
It is a hammer beyond your wildest comprehension.
A hammer that has the capability of hitting 500 pluses.
Abilities unbeknownst to mankind.
Speaking of abilities, we're seeing that Pool Boy come out in favor of Kaio. Always a great upgrade to pick up on any Swiggins. Almost mandatory in the meta.
I would say so, yes. I mean, you have to get that quick burst in, and if you don't, you end up with a Swiggins that is very vulnerable because his targets most likely will not be dead when you hook in.
Invis will get picked up by Blah, and Dov, not realizing his positioning, gets caught midair by Kaio and dropped down into the chute of death. that Blah will be able to deal just enough damage for Paolo to come in with the spike dive and pick up the kill. And it seems that he is trying to escape. Mogno is going to be on the run, and it is going to be destroyed. Kaio is taken out by Robbie. The anchor was not enough to pick out Mogno in the process, but Robbie getting sandwiched by Blah and Paolo. Another kill in return. 8-5 the kill count. The second turret goes down in favor of Team Boom.
Oh, wow. See, that's, again, like a display of body blocking and how it is a CC.
It absolutely is a CC, and a lot of people don't realize that, but everybody is equipped with a CC mechanism, and that is body blocking. If you could sandwich them in, as Kaio and Blah, or excuse me, Paolo and Blah had done on the bottom to Robbie, they were able to successfully nullify any movement that he could have had, and were able to pick up the kill.
That is true. And now, Nibs is one of those characters that are basically impossible to move through. And same goes for Yuri with his bubble. Those are knots that just do so well at body blocking, you basically cannot do anything against it.
Kaio absolutely getting assaulted. Blah's going to pick up Dov in the same time, and we see a double kill occur where the DOT will pick him up as well. Robbie trying to escape the clutches of Boom, and he comes back, and that is going to be a team wipe for Team Boom. Team Boom has successfully wiped Team Ion, and they are going to go for that turret damage. It's been brought down to about half HP in one successful tank, and the droids are now here, which means that it's going to take even more damage.
That is one hammer away, though. If they land one hammer, one dash, they are going down. They know that, and they're going back for it, though.
And that team wipe has taken the third turret away from Team Ion. Team Boom is playing with intensity that we have seen throughout these finals, and it's absolutely showing. The intensity, they're playing with such high skill, and both of these teams are here for a reason.
That is true. I keep agreeing with you, Oz.
I think we're on the same page in regards to where these teams are, the level of intensity, how these teams have gotten here, and it's just been a crazy ride, and it's all coming down to these last few games. It seems surreal.
Yeah, we're being a bit emotional, I suppose.
I'm being emotional.
Yes, this is so pretty. We're finally here.
Then he dropped his silence clap. It's so beautiful.
That's so beautiful. Well, I doubt Ion is feeling emotional right now. If anything, they are a bit stressed because they are pushed back like crazy.
They are pushed back, and we have just hit the late stages of this game. 20 minutes in, 3 turrets down in favor of Team Boom, and 1 turret down in favor of Team Ion.
Oh, wow. That is the cooldown.
Kaio will be trying to teleport back and gets a teleport before Mogno can get to him. And there we go. The ice cream van has been brought out. That is going to be a 4-second hammer cooldown.
And there's going to be there every other, people like to say it's every other second. It is only every 4th second, but, you get the idea.
And look at the body blocks coming out from Blah, being able to nullify movement from Dov and pick up the kill. Blah looking to secure another kill on Robbie, and Robbie's going to be able to try and juke him out, but Paolo waiting on the bouncer and picks him up off of the bouncer. It looks like they're going to go in for more core damage as Boom is going to the core. Let's see how much they can take off before Mogno is able to defend alongside any members of Team Ion that will be able to get on map quick enough to prevent this. And it seems that Dove is back, but there's 4 bars left on that core.
That's not a whole lot, is it? No, it's not.
And 4 bars left on the core versus Team Boom. That's a single kill, and that could be the end of Game 2, or quote-unquote Game 2 of this series, since Team Boom has a 1-game advantage. But that could be the end of the game for Team Ion. And he's going to be slowed again. Dov is having to escape a lot more often than not, and he's not able to get that damage output that he's hoping for with the Heavenly Fire.
Well, the Heavenly Fire should be doing a lot more damage, but with all these things coming into play and the solo difference being quite significant by now, at least for Vinny, I think that the Blaze is not really going to play into effect as much as he has hoped. So,
and we see Dov get bursted down once more, and Paolo duking it out with Mogno, but Robbie realizes that they're going for the core. He's going to have to retreat back, but that's 4 bars left on the core. Mogno has to get back, and Robbie gets taken down, and that is going to be the end of the game as Team Boom takes another game, increasing their lead 2-0 against Ion. Nada, what could have went differently in that match for Ion?
Well, Boom was clearly on top of them like the whole time, and what I'm seeing here is they needed to rely a bit more on the hammer for the initiations. Frog was really just vulnerable a lot of the times, and having hammer go in with dash, I think that would have been much safer. If they could have focused on that, perhaps they'd done better. But other than that, I think we're going to have to go on to the next match and see if Boom can get a clean victory on the Grand Finals.
We will go straight to quote-unquote Game 3 or Game 2 of this series, but before we do that, we are going to be giving away another Robo Scoop. This time, it will be on Twitter. All you have to do is keep an eye out for a tweet going out from Ronimo Games and retweet it. You have to be following the Twitter handle itself, Ronimo, and you will have entered yourself to win another Robo Scoop. We'll be right back with Game 3 of Ion versus Boom.